And today it's cheese. Welcome to my kitchen. We're going to celebrate entertaining with cheese, from appetizers to dessert. Wonderful cheeses. Who invented cheese? At last I can say to you, it wasn't the Chinese. They've never done much with dairy products. It probably was not really invented at all, but actually given us by God. The old story goes that in the old days, we're talking about 6,000 years ago, a fellow would store milk in a goat skin, a stomach, you see, in the stomach of the goat, because it's kind of a bottle affair. And there's a natural rennet in the stomach, and it caused the milk to turn to curd, to whey. It curds and whey, you see. Oh, incidentally, Miss Muffet, you'll learn more about her today, too. The curds and whey become a cheese, and that's probably how cheese came about. But remember, that means that cheese has got to be one of the oldest food products we know. It predates wine, because they had to stand around and grow grapes. It goes back to the time when everyone was a nomad, and we wandered about following the herds. We learned to make butter, and we learned to make cheese from the milk of the herds. Even before agriculture came about, we were making cheese. The process is simple. You add a curd or a rennet, something will cause the milk to curdle, to the milk, and then you drain the whey off of the milk, and then you press it or age it. That's all there is to it, and that's the way they've always done it. A contemporary cheese factory does in a little bit more involved way, because they have gorgeous equipment and incredible volume. But this is how it starts. This is the factory, from the grass to the cow, isn't she gorgeous, to the Lena Cheese Factory in Lena, Illinois. Mr. Dimitri, excuse me, his name is Demeter. Mr. Demeter, the dear fellow I'm wandering around with, is an old Greek. And Greeks were probably some of the first people to ever make cheese. This is a cheddar that they're cutting up the curd now after it's been allowed to drain, and they chop it up, and then they'll form it into a big press. It's interesting to taste the cheese when it's raw. That is to say, it's been pasteurized and cooked already, but it hasn't been pressed and aged, and that's what they mean by raw curd. It's kind of rubbery and squeaky, but it has a nice flavor. These guys eat it like candy. When you begin the process then, you add rennet to the milk, it curdles, and it makes a curd, you see. It looks like cottage cheese, and then the curd sets up, and it begins to form almost something like a jello, and that has to be cut up. And these are the knives they use to cut the curd. He's making feta, which is one of our oldest cheeses. You then put the curd into a mold or a form so it can drain. In this case, they were simply using buckets with holes in them. Now he's making brie, and I think this is his finest cheese. You can see that the milk has reached the point of almost a gelatin-like consistency, so now he has to cut the curd, and then the next step, you see, is to pour the curd into molds so that the whey can drain out. Miss Muffet was eating both curds and whey, but we don't want the whey now. We want to drain the whey so we can get cheese, and away we go, pouring the cheese curds down into molds. These are small little brie molds, you see. It tastes like cottage cheese at this point, because it hasn't been aged, and the right bacillus hasn't been added yet. Funny, even in all this technological creativity, it's the old man, bless his heart. He goes around and almost pats every cheese. He just kind of blesses everything. Then it's back to technology again, but he watches everything closely. Here they're pressing the cheeses, these beautiful little brie. I have one here, I'll show you. And the machine will press out some of the moisture, let it drain for a bit, and then it will go into aging. But first you've got to drain the whey. This is a fascinating machine. They used to do this by hand, but now they can drain 500 cheeses at once before they put them in the curing room. And we're now in the curing room, and you'll see the cheese change from yellow to a beautiful white, and the final product, and this is one that we saw made from beginning to end, has that wonderful odor. This is a camembert. He also has the brie. It's simply wonderful. He's just great. I'm very impressed with the man. Mr. Demeter at Lena. He gives all kinds of cheeses. He makes a Swiss cheese. You saw those first ones. Look at these. Look at all the bubbles. And that, again, is a different bug, so to speak. And he makes a beautiful Havarti. And the Havarti is a much milder cheese. You see, it doesn't get quite as big and puffy. And here's his brie. Oh, this stuff's heaven. Well, anyhow, today we're going to celebrate cheese. Now, for the first course, you'd want to have an appetizer, right? I would suggest a great goat cheese. This is a Sèvres, and it's made from, literally from goat's milk. He puts a little bit of cow's milk in it. It's very, very rich, and this is honest-to-God yuppie food. It's very in at the moment. You'll even see Chèvres or goat cheese, French goat cheese fritters in restaurants. Very delicious. Then I would go on to, another appetizer for you perhaps, would be a deep-fried cheese. Have you tried that? It's very simple. Let me see if the fat's hot enough yet. We're just about there. Let me show you how the process goes. We're going to want to prepare some, I'm using cheddar cheese. Remember that big vat? Wonderful stuff. And it takes a while to age this, but I'm going to dip the cheddar cheese cubes, they're not very large, into a bit of white flour and cornmeal. Isn't that what I have in here? Cornmeal? No, what do I have in here? That's it, cornmeal. That's going to have to be it. No, try breadcrumbs or cornmeal. It'll work. I like the breadcrumbs really well. This is what we got in here. I couldn't remember. Oh, too many things going on this morning. I tell you that all the time, don't I? I had too much going on in my kitchen, but that's why it's fun. I think that's enough. How's the fat doing? Perfect. We want the fat at about 380 degrees. And now we'll simply slip these in. Let me wash my hands off first. It's a mess. We'll slip them, the little sticks into the hot fat, 380 degrees. And of course I'm using peanut oil. You don't see me deep fry much, do you? I want to avoid that much fat in your diet. And here I'm doing nothing but cheese. Yes, this is a little heavy today, but I want you to understand that for entertaining, you can do much more with cheese than you've tried in the past. All right, that's fine. We're right on the button. And in we go. All right. And we'll deep fry these for just a moment. Just take a second. Well, not a second. I'm talking a couple of minutes here. All right. And in the meantime, I want to get another burner going here for us. And we're going to prepare a second course, which of course is a soup. Have you ever had cheese soup? I made a beer and cheese soup for you once, but today I want to use Mr. Demeter's beautiful brie for a cream of brie soup. Yes, this is classy. This is elegant stuff. And the brie is not cheap. Brie is not cheap. Incidentally, Mr. Demeter manufactures, I have the statistics here for you. While I'm waiting on the cheese, I'll give it to you. Mr. Demeter uses 180,000 pounds of milk per day in his factory, right in the middle of the cornfields of Illinois. That works out to, you ready? I had to calculate all this for you because I don't know what 180,000 pounds of milk looks like. It is 21,176.5 gallons. And out of that, you lose 90% of the weight. So you use 180,000 pounds of milk. 180,000 pounds equals 18,000 pounds of cheese. And the rest is whey. And you know what they do with it? He puts it in big vats and it's made into cattle food. Nothing is wasted. Talk about frugal. I'm impressed. That's the way it should be. Now we'll get our cheese out of the, come on, soup. There we go. Get our cheese out of the deep fat. You see? You didn't think this was going to work, did you? It works very well. I'm going to put it on a bit of a paper towel so that we can arrange them on a platter. I have a couple more here that I've prepared before your arrival. Ouch, they're a little hot, obviously. But the cheese is very soft inside. It hasn't melted because, or it hasn't come apart. It's melted a bit, but it hasn't become gooey and run all over because the little casing of flour and breadcrumbs, dip it in egg, then in flour and breadcrumbs, have held it together. So it's kind of an interesting thing. I enjoy it. All right, second thing we're going to do, put this out for you. Needs a parsley sprig, doesn't it? There we go. This is a good one. Cheese for the meal. We're on the second one now. We can use plain cheese as an appetizer, cheese sticks, and how about a cheese soup? If you prepare a brie soup, start first of all with 2 cups of broth. I'm using chicken broth. And to our 2 cups of chicken broth, we're going to add some sautéed vegetables. I have sautéed, in a tiny bit of butter, I've sautéed, about a half cup of onion and about a half cup of celery. There. And saute them just until they're tender and soft, not until they're discolored. You see? We don't want that. Okay, now we're going to add, as soon as we get that to a simmer, we're going to add some cheese. So I'll prepare that now, and I'm going to use his gorgeous brie. This sound too expensive to you? Well, pretty flamboyant soup, but after all, you and I can afford to be pretty flamboyant people if we live right. Look at how lovely and ripe this is. You see, it should be soft right in the center. And yes, please use the crust. You're to eat that. You don't. I'm going to try one now. You don't just eat the outside, the soft inside. I've seen people stand around and peel brie. Terrible thing to do. Okay, I'm going to chop up half a wheel. If you're sitting at home going, "Oh my Lord, now my kid is going to see him eating with his mouth full," I do that all the time. Not eating, talking. My mouth is always full. Into the pan of broth now, which is 2 cups of chicken broth, some sautéed yellow onions and celery, and we're going to stir in the brie. It'll not take long to cook. I've got to get another paddle here. We'll melt this down a bit, you see. There. Oh, we'll need just a tiny bit of salt. There we go. Not much. You don't need a lot of salt in your food, remember? And this is going to be very, very rich. We're going to put this in a food processor and grind it all up so it's a nice puree. And you're saying, where is the cream? Well, I'll add that later. You add 2 cups of milk. No, I'm not trying to make it a low calorie. It's too late. When you consider this piece of cheese was 10 times its size in terms of milk volume when it started. It takes 10 quarts of milk to make 1 quart of cheese. That's a lot of loss. So it's too late to cut down on the butterfat because all the butterfat's concentrated in this. But you can either add a cup of milk and a cup of cream, or you can add 2 cups of milk. There, that's ready. Let's put it in the food processor. We'll grind this up now and have a wonderful second course for our entertaining with cheese. All right, in we go. This makes that wonderful noise, you know. Here we go. Just takes a second here. All right, 2 seconds. We're going to grind it up a bit. There we are. I think that's set. Yep. Now we would return it to the pan, and very gently. Don't boil this. You see how fine and nice it is now? Everything's chopped up, including that. Whoops. There's the paddle too. We don't need that. Including the rind of the cheese, which is really the flavoring item in the cheese. It's a bacillus. It's something they have to inject into the cheese, and it's wonderful. Now we'll add a bit of cream or milk. I'm using milk, 2 cups. And there. The soup is done. Uh-oh. The oven. I've got a surprise for you. I think. Let me look. Do I have a surprise for you? Yes, I'm worried about things not working on my kitchen, just like yours. Let me stop the bell. And I'll take it out in just a minute. But first I want to get the beautiful brie soup on the counter here so we can enjoy it. Breadcrumbs in my bowl. Cream of brie. Can you believe it? This will knock them dead at your next dinner party. I don't expect you to serve nothing but cheese for dinner. That's not the point of our discussion today. The point of our discussion centers around the fact that you can do much more with cheese than you've done in the past. How about some chives for a topper, huh? Look at this. We found some fresh chives in the supermarket, and come in a little pot, you see? Isn't that cute? And we'll chop these up and make a lovely garnish for cream of brie. What a wonderful soup. There. Oh. Lord, that's rich. Are you ready? It's just beautiful. I'm going to put it over on this side, I think, because I need some room for the next item. If I can get into the... There we are. If I can get into the souffle now, I think you'll be surprised because I have a beauty for you. A Swiss cheese souffle that is just colossal. I'm going to show you the finished product first because mine is just now done and I don't want it to fall. When the bell goes off in your oven and your souffle is ready, you yell like mad and tell everyone in the house that it come right that minute because the souffle is done, and don't let them stand there and sip on their sherry and keep talking. You just say, get out here right now. Right now. Right now. No fooling around. Because... Oh, almost lost it there. Because the souffle, isn't this wild? Easy to do. Oh, that's gorgeous. Now that's going to fall a bit as it cools, you see. By this time you want everyone, boy, I'm impressed. Isn't that a beauty? Notice I didn't put any wax paper on the outside. Don't do that with a souffle. That's for a gelatin-type souffle. You don't want to do that with this one. Show you how it's done. Nothing but eggs and cheese. We want to melt some butter. We're making the souffle now. Is this awful? I'm going reverse on you. We want to melt about 3½ tablespoons of butter for our Swiss cheese souffle. So we'll get that in a pan and on its way. And then we will prepare a roux. Let's see, I need a couple chives in the milk here. That's not good. I need a couple cups of hot milk. There we go. Remember, a roux is simply butter and flour mixed together so that you can use it as a thickening agent. It's spelled R-O-U-X. It is absolutely important in your kitchen because most of us spend a lot of time shaking up water with flour, and we come up with paste. And that's why it gets lumpy. Of course it's going to get lumpy. It's lumpy to start with. The flour congeals to its neighbor, each little grain, you see. But if you butter them, then they'll not stick together, and you'll have a nice rich filling for your roux. I'm going to put in about 4 tablespoons of flour now into the butter, and it's just beginning to melt here. And you don't want to make this raw. You want to cook it a bit so that it gets rid of the raw flour flavor. That's important. While the milk is heating, I'll talk with you some more about the principle of the souffle. One, I think you should have your eggs at room temperature. And we're going to separate 8 eggs, but we're not going to use all of the yolks. We're just going to use 6 of the yolks. And that will blend into our cheese and bechamel. So while the flour is melting and cooking with the butter, let's whip the egg whites. And I want 8 egg whites. Got that? 8 egg whites into a bowl. Let's see, where are we going? Here we go. Into a whipper here. And I want to put in just a bit of cream of tartar, half a teaspoon. And that will keep the egg up, the whites up, keeps them good and firm. And 8 egg whites. Now you're going to wonder about me because later on I'm going to put in only 6 egg yolks, but that's all right. Let me go back to my roux here. There we are. It's doing nicely. I think I have too much flour in there. If that happens to you, just add a little more oil. Don't worry about it. A little olive oil would be just fine. That's what I'm going to do. There we are. Any kind of oil. If you don't want to increase the cholesterol level so much, well, just add a little olive oil. You could make a roux with just olive oil and flour if you like. Okay, we'll let that toast for just a bit now. I don't want to toast it. You can make a dark roux if you like. In New Orleans, you know, they toast this roux until it's just black or very, very dark brown, and then they say, that's just right. We'll just let this cook for a minute while we whip our 8 egg yolks with a bit of cream and tartar. Okay. I hope you have a good mixer at home. This one's a blessing to me. I just love it. Away we go. Now I have a cup of Swiss cheese ready to go, and I've grated it. Coarse grater, you see? Watching everything all at once. What's next? All right, the milk is ready for the roux. We're going to make a bechamel sauce now by simply stirring the roux right into the milk. It's best to do this off the burner. I'm going to move it now. Best to do this off the burner so that it won't lump up on you. There we are. All right, once you stir it in, back on the burner it goes. We'll let that cook for just a minute. And now we'll check our whites. They're still fine. So let's season the roux with a bit of cayenne pepper. Just a smidgen. You know, you just need a couple of pinches. And a bit of nutmeg. This is a fresh nutmeg grater. You've seen this, I'm sure. I just love it. And a pinch of salt. There we are. Okay, off the heat it goes. We're ready. The whites are done. No. A couple more minutes. A couple more seconds. Now I have 6 egg whites around here, egg yolks around here somewhere. Here we are. Now we're gonna blend the bechamel, seasoned bechamel, into the eggs. And please notice that I'm pouring some of the bechamel into the eggs first. Don't do the reverse. Excuse me. There. That's not an awful sound. Don't do the reverse. Don't put the eggs into the bechamel because the bechamel's too hot, and that amount of heat will curdle the eggs. Better to do it this way. All right. We'll blend the eggs with a bit of the bechamel. Add a little bit more. There we are. Whip it up. This isn't at all complicated. The only secret is how to fold it in so that you don't wind up with a bomb on your hands. All right. All of the bechamel now is in the pot, and we'll stir it in, and then we'll add 1 cup of Swiss cheese. Okay. Oh, look, he's still, you know, the old souffle is holding up all right. I think he's going to be okay. You see, he's calmed down a bit, but still beautiful. And that's been about it's been about 7 or 8 minutes. So by this time, you see, your guests are not as impressed, and that's a shame. All right, 1 cup of Swiss cheese. All righty, there it is. It doesn't have to turn to goo. Don't stir it that much. We're now ready to fold this into the 8 egg whites. Are you with me? We'll give it to you again. It's not complicated, and it's very delicious. Now, do not put the egg whites into the bechamel. Put the bechamel into the egg whites, running it right down the side of the bowl. See, I didn't pour it all over the top. I don't want to crush the egg whites. This is a light meringue. No, there's no sugar in it. So it really shouldn't be called a meringue, should it? Meringue always has sugar. Now, we'll just fold it under. Very gently. Keep folding and turning your bowl over on itself. Very gently, very gently. Treat eggs with the wonder that they deserve. This is an awesome food product. How clever the King of the Universe is to create the chicken, and how kind the chicken is to give us eggs. I think any good hen would be tickled if she saw this cheese souffle. And she's in cahoots with a cow. You see, so you've got the whole barnyard involved in this dish. Now, we'll put this in a baking souffle dish. This is about 3 quarts, isn't it? About 3 quarts? Okay. We had to empty these out and figure out what size they were. There we go. Fill it right up. It should just be almost to the brim. And then it goes into a 375-degree oven, and it stays there for about 25 minutes. And you watch it carefully. But don't keep slamming the door, because you'll cause the thing to collapse. You see? You don't have to worry about the kids running around. It's none of that sort of thing we used to worry about when I was a child. My mother wouldn't let me near the kitchen when she was baking a cake. I don't know why. I didn't make that much noise, Mom. Come on. All right. The second main course that we could serve, this would be a lovely main course, or the green salad, of course, and a glass of wine. The second main course that we could serve would be an old fondue. I'm sorry that fondue seems to have come out of its selected place in the past. It was very popular a few years ago, and now it's not quite as popular, but I love fondue. It's my old fondue pot, and when you make a good fondue, you use nothing but Swiss cheese and some flour, grated flour, a little bit of garlic and white wine. Finally, I put in a little bit of nutmeg and a shot of brandy, and then, of course, you need lots of bread and wonderful bread to tear up, and it's a wonderful dish. I enjoy it so much. Everybody sits around. If I make fondue for Jason, he cheers for weeks. He just loves it. And finally, for a dessert, you serve the same thing you serve for your first course. Serve cheeses on a platter, beautiful camembert with fruit, or if you want a fun one, try this. I have, if I can find my bowl full of, here it is. I have a cube of butter in the bowl. Now, I'm going to add some gorgonzola. You can use blue cheese, or you can use Roquefort. Do you know the difference? Do you understand the difference between them? Roquefort cheese is made in France, and it is made from sheep's milk, only in the caves of Roquefort. Blue cheese comes from Denmark, and it's made from cow's milk. Gorgonzola is made in Italy, and it is from goat's milk. So we want to put a bit of gorgonzola, about half and half. That's a 1/4 pound of butter, so we'll use a 1/4 pound of cheese. And we're going to whip this stuff to death until we get a paste. And we're going to smear it. Well, I'll show you what we're going to do. It's just too good to worry about. It's wonderful stuff. I don't know where my wife got this recipe, but she served this to me one night when I was in a particularly bad mood, I think, after a difficult day. And this will heal anything. If you don't like the goaty flavor, it's perfectly all right to use blue, but don't invite me over. If I'm coming over, use gorgonzola, will you? And gorgonzola makes wonderful pasta. Chop the gorgonzola in a pan, into a pan with a little bit of olive oil and garlic, and just let it kind of melt down a bit. Throw in some cream, toss that over pasta. Of course, all the neighbors know. It has a heavy odor. All the neighbors know what you're doing, but who cares, for heaven's sakes? That's all right. There we are. And we'll scrape this. You see, it's very rich, you're right. But this is dessert. No sugar in it. Only butter fat and goat fat. Oh, there. You don't like the word goat fat? Listen, in biblical times, that was a sign of great happiness. Goat fat. I'm going to use some, these are Bosch pears, I think. Use some fresh pears, and I'll put my whipped up, this is not quite as warm as it should be. It's going to be a little hard to spread. We'll put the whipped up butter and gorgonzola cheese on pear wedges. I have some already cut for you. Keep them in salted water so you can do this dish ahead of time and then serve them at the last minute and they'll not discolor, you see. And when you put this, I've just got to, when you put a bit of cheese on your pear, where's a knife, Smith? I don't know where a knife is. I'm not going to look. Anyhow, when you put a bit of this cheese on the pear, what a marriage. What a marvelous marriage. Coming from the cow, grass, the patience of a man who understands cheese, and the glory of the Creator who gave us yeasts that make cheese. Today I've made for you, we've at least discussed fondue. I made a cream of brie soup for you. A lovely soup. I've made a souffle for you, cheese souffle. I've even deep fried some cheese. And then finally, I've whipped up some gorgonzola with butter to put on pears and celebrate dessert. So there you have a whole buffet using cheese as we entertain one another and enjoy the grand things from grass, a cow, and an old Greek gentleman. Enjoy. This is the Frugal Gourmet. Until I see you again, I bid you peace. Bye-bye.